What's going on, New York Giants fans? Back at it with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to discuss two topics I'm looking forward to talking about. Before we get there, make sure to give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter at Big Blue Avenue and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Big Blue Avenue as well. Appreciate all the support. Had a video the other day talking about Eli Manning rejoining the Giants organization, and that should be very interesting to see him inducted into the Giants Ring of Honor on September 26th. And today we're going to be talking about the Giants waiving running back Ryquell Armstead. The Giants signed him, they claimed him off waivers from the Jacksonville Jaguars earlier this offseason back in May. And he was a 2019 fifth-round pick for Jacksonville out of Temple, had just 108 rushing yards for Jacksonville as a rookie. There's a lot of promise when the Giants claimed him off waivers. This was before they went out and signed Corey Clement. Now they did. They had minicamp, and Armstead missed the entire 2020 season due to COVID-19. He was actually hospitalized with the virus. So, it was definitely interesting to see that the Giants would go after him, claim him off waivers, being that Jacksonville did waive him. But Ryquell Armstead was not here for long. We're here about a month or so later, and he's off this football team. So what this leads me to think is, could the Giants be bringing back Nate Ebner now? Could he be getting his roster spot? Obviously, in the last video, I talked about Nate Ebner and how he withdrew from the rugby Olympic team tryouts. So that'll be interesting. Or what does this mean for the running back position? Obviously, the Giants drafted sixth-round rookie Gary Brightwell. Did he impress enough in minicamp to help Armstead get the boot? Sandro Platzgummer, international gateway player from last year, who kind of came in, and he didn't do much at all last year, but he's another guy to look out for. And Corey Clement, who we signed, who is a pass-catching back, who was strictly brought in to play that Dion Lewis type of role. So I'm very inclined to see how that pans out for this football team, and if any of those factors could have led to Armstead being waived. But I think Giants are more than likely to make a move over the weekend or early next week, bringing in another player, whether it be Nate Ebner or potentially even another running back. Who knows? Obviously, with Saquon Barkley's health still up in the air, his rehab apparently has been going very well, but it has been made clear that Barkley is going to come back the right way. He is not going to come back until his knee feels 100%. Coming off a torn ACL, it's definitely a concerning injury to come back from. A lot of lingering effects, so Barkley wants to make sure he's ready to go. So that's the first topic of this video. The second topic, which I find very intriguing, is the Pittsburgh Steelers releasing right guard David DeCastro after 9 seasons. 31-year-old guard who is contemplating his future in the NFL. They released him yesterday, and later in the day they signed him with Trey Turner, who a lot of content creators were saying could be an option for the Giants. I kind of ruled Trey Turner out of our price range a while ago. I didn't think he was the best scheme fit for our offensive line, being an older player and not really having that poised of a resume as DeCastro or even Kevin Zeitler. So, and also due to the fact that we went out and we signed Zach Fulton in free agency. So this is interesting because Dave DeCastro, big guy, 6'5", 316, described by many as a mauler, had a lot of issues this past season. He had bone spurs in his ankle, constant issue that, kept him sidelined at times, and he needs surgery. Now, he was at the offseason activities for the Steelers, but he did not participate. This is actually his third time getting surgery on his ankle. So anytime you get surgery on the same bone 3 times, that's definitely something that gets you thinking, well, maybe it's time to hang up the cleats. But David DeCastro has a big decision ahead of him after this surgery. And how does this relate to the New York Football Giants? We have an obvious need at that right guard position on our offensive line. In fact, at both guard positions, because I don't think either guard position is solidified yet. I think right now you're looking at Will Hernandez and Shane Lemieux as the two guards. But if you come in here and say you're comfortable with that heading into week 1, then I'd say, you may want to rethink that. You may want to see how these two perform in training camp and preseason. You may want to bring in a veteran for competition, for insurance. We just opened up a spot on our roster. So what I like about DeCastro is from the guard position, obviously, you're not going to give up that many pressures if you're a average to above average guard. DeCastro only gave up 17 pressures, 2 QB hits, 0 sacks last season. Our two guards that are still on our roster, this does not include Zeitler. This is Shane Lemieux and Will Hernandez. Lemieux gave up 25 pressures, so that's 8 pressures more than DeCastro, and Lemieux only played in like 9-10 games, by the way, folks. Lemieux gave up 25 pressures, 5 sacks, and 6 quarterback hits from the guard spot. Will Hernandez, 25 pressures, 1 sack, 5 QB hits. So Hernandez a little bit better as far as sacks go, but both guards gave up way too many pressures. Daniel Jones was hit way too much this season. DeCastro played 9 years at right guard for the Steelers, so he does have some experience. The Giants do have experience on their offensive line already in Nate Solder, and I guess Will Hernandez is technically a fourth-year guy now, despite his injury last year. Same goes for Nick Gates, fourth-year player who is technically in his third because he missed his rookie season due to injury. But this is very interesting. I think we have to wait and see how the surgery goes for David DeCastro to see if he would be an option for the Giants because he is uncertain about his future. In fact, he admitted to losing his love for playing football at the NFL level due to not having fans in the stadium last season, especially when you play in that black and gold for the Pittsburgh Steelers, such a historic franchise. DeCastro, first-round pick back in 2012. Offensive linemen generally don't last that much longer than 10 years, at least at a high ceiling. So DeCastro, a 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro. I definitely think he's at least worth a look for the New York Football Giants if he decides to continue his career. Not to mention he has 124 career starts. And by the way, he went to college at Stanford where he played 3 years with one of our current tight ends, Levine Toilolo. Toilolo was drafted in 2013. So those two players do have a little bit of chemistry from years back. So if DeCastro, post-surgery, decides to keep playing, I think the Giants should potentially at least reach out to him, look into him for bargain-type money. You're going to get him very cheap. He's coming off surgery. Teams are not going to want to invest high money into this guy. So is he worth the risk? Well, it depends what you think that risk is. I think it's a very low risk if you bring him in here, have him compete with guys like Shane Lemieux, Will Hernandez. Worst thing, it doesn't work out. You know, he teaches Will and Shane a couple of things, and then those two move on as the starters. But at the end of the day, I feel like that's kind of what we brought in Zach Fulton for, Jonathan Harrison. We already have Nate Solder. So I'm not coming in and telling you I necessarily think the Giants need David DeCastro. I think you have to give him a look, though, considering his impressive resume. Guys, thank you very much for watching this video. As always, make sure to follow us below on our social media at Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Big Blue Avenue for more exclusive New York Giants content. Thank you all and have a great weekend.